In the last lesson, we did trig equations where we were in degrees. We could also do trig equations with radians. So the way this would work is I have a question like cosine of 2x equals negative 0.6967. Now, if I put my calculator into radian mode, and just to give you a feel for a second for what's going on, cosine 2x looks like this, where this is 2 pi, where two cosine cycles is pi. And that pi is a number, it's about 3.14, and here's about 6.28. So cosine 2x equals negative 0.6967 is going to have 4 answers between 0 and 2 pi. And they're going to be like here, 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 and here. Maybe at like around 1 and 2 and 4 and 5, somewhere around there. So we're expecting answers, 4 answers around 1, 2, 4, and 5. So let's say the way we do this. We get our reference angle. And for the reference angle, we're going to do cosine inverse of regular 0.6967. But if we're in radian mode, we're going to get something between 0 and pi over 2 for this. It's like an acute angle. When this is positive, we get something between 0 and pi over 2. Pi over 2 is about 1.5, so we should expect something between 0 and 1.5 approximately. It turns out to be about 1.25. That's 1.25 radians, which is somewhere around 80 degrees or something like that, 75 degrees. So I'll also throw a unit circle up here. Now this was negative, and cosine is negative in quadrants 2 and 3. Now if it was degrees, I would do 180 minus and 180 plus to get these two angles. But it's not degrees, it's radians, so my answers are going to be pi minus 1.25 and pi plus 1.25. Oops, I just realized if you're following along at home, this is actually about 0.8. So it's pi minus 0.8 and pi plus 0.8. This one, pi is 3.14, so this is about 2.34. And this is about 3.94. Now we're not done yet because that's 2x, so I have to divide both sides by 2. Whoops. And we get our two initial answers of 1.17 and 3.94 divided by 2, which is 1.97. So that's good, that's these two answers. But I also want these two answers, so I have to add on the period. The period is 2 pi over 2 because of this 2 here, which is pi. So I have to actually add 3.14 to both of these answers. And I get 1.17 times plus 3.14 is 4.31, and 1.97 plus 3.14 is 5.11. And those are 4 answers. So it's pretty hard. You've got to go into radian mode. You've got to use 180 minus instead of pi. You use pi minus instead of 180 minus. You do pi plus instead of 180 plus. You do, if it was quadrant 4, 360 minus. You do 2 pi minus instead of 360 minus. Okay, let's look at this more complicated looking example. First, we're going to take away the 23 from both sides. Get 14.142 1356. That's 20 cosine of this complicated expression. Divide both sides by 20. And get 0.70710678. So we do our reference angle is cosine inverse of this 0.7071678. Even if this thing was negative, which is not, I would still put positive in here. And I go into radian mode, and I get 0.7854. That's 0.7854 radians. Radians about 57 degrees, so this is like 40-something degrees. Doesn't matter. That's what the answer is, or that's the reference angle. But cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4. So the answers are going to be, this 0.7854 is going to lead us to one of the answers, but the other one is going to be 2 pi minus 0.7854, which is 5.4978. Now that's not the answer yet. That's what pi over 4x minus 3 equals. Still got a lot of work to do. We got to multiply both sides by 4 over pi. And then we need to add on, actually I'll add on the 3 right there also. And for the other answer, same thing. X equals 4 over pi times 54979 plus the 3. That leads us to answers of x equals 4 or x equals 10. And in this question, they asked, I didn't tell you, but they asked to find answers between 0 and like 12 or something like that. So it's not necessary to do this other step where we add on the period.